Top Gear USA was officially canceled after this happened.
This way, right? More, go. That's it. There it is. Good.
But before we begin, we hope to see you stay until the end, as you won't want to miss the story of the show's mixed fortunes during its run. Also, be sure to subscribe to our channel, click that notification bell to be notified of future videos, and be sure to comment to enter to win a $100 Visa debit card.
And pretty soon the results started to come.
The show had a false start. After the huge success of the UK version of the show featuring Jeremy Clarkson, James May, and Richard Hammond, a US version of the show seemed inevitable. In 2005, Discovery Channel and the BBC made their first attempt at an American version of the show, featuring actor and IHRA driver Bruno Messel, with actors John Jenkinson and John Littlefield as the hosts. The show was filmed at Willow Springs Raceway in California, and they even flew the original Stig to burn some rubber and show the boys how to really drive. It wasn't picked up by Discovery, and there was a lot of skepticism as to whether the show could translate to an American audience. Discovery's compromise was to instead broadcast an Americanized version of the UK shows that had some of the slower parts of the UK version edited out. These shows included an introduction from the UK hosts filmed especially for a US audience. It seems as though Top Gear never really panned out for the US market like they would have wanted it to.
And we did a little show called Top Gear, which turned out quite nicely. I don't know if you ever saw the finished product.
I sure did. I laughed out loud. My kids loved it.
It was a shame that it never made the air, but as far as we go, I feel like it was mission accomplished.
The show had another false start. After the BBC were still keen to launch a US-produced version of the show, NBC announced in January 2008 that it had ordered a pilot for an American version of the show, with a new name of Top Gear USA on NBC. Later in June of that year, NBC and the BBC officially announced an American version of Top Gear that was going to be hosted by Adam Carolla, Tanner Faust, and Eric Stromer. Despite the critical response of the studio-filmed parts of the show and the pilot being reasonably favorable, there were still doubters. Around the same time, Jay Leno was dismissive in an interview with a UK-based Sunday Times, and was particularly skeptical about how a Top Gear on a commercial station would be able to be critical about cars that were potentially sponsoring the show. This may have contributed to the fact that NBC didn't pick up a full season of the show, but more likely was the fact that Knight Rider had recently done so poorly in the ratings, the network were done with anything car-related. Again, US Top Gear was left on the shelf.
You rimmed up a minivan.
How is that a cool grown-up car?
You know how it's cool? It's burgundy.
I know. Oh, crap! I can't hear you. What the hell? You gotta be kidding me. He found a minivan that'll do a burnout.
That is a monster minivan.
When the show did eventually start, it was slow off the line. Finally, a US version of the show found its home on the History Channel. In 2010, the first Top Gear USA trailer was published on the web, with a preview of what was about to drop on the History Channel. The new hosts were revealed as Adam Ferrara, Tanner Faust, and Rutledge Wood. Although the first series was given the seal of approval from the UK hosts, not everyone agreed. The British press picked up on the fact that the internet was particularly harsh, with some comments calling it an insult to the original Top Gear. And although the press themselves weren't that scathing, the UK-based newspaper The Guardian did agree that the US version didn't have the kind of spark that the original UK hosts gave it. This was light criticism in comparison to some reviews. The website The AV Club claimed that History's version borrowed the graphics, music, and editing of the original, but that the show felt like it was imported from a 1980s beer commercial. Overall, it was fair to say that reviews were mixed, but the show was commissioned several times for a further 5 more seasons.
Top Gear presenter Jeremy Clarkson has been dropped from the BBC.
What we know is that the producer, Oshin Tiemann, was indeed attacked by Jeremy Clarkson, and he was also subjected to sustained verbal abuse, using words that no one should have to endure. And that's why, with regret, I decided this morning that we will not be renewing Jeremy's contract.
The UK Top Gear imploded just before the US show got cancelled. In 2015, the main host of the UK version of the show, Jeremy Clarkson, got in a fight with one of the series' producers in an act described as an unprovoked physical and verbal attack. The BBC reacted by firing Clarkson from the show, and his colleagues Hammond and May followed him out the door. A BBC investigation found that Clarkson had subjected the producer Oisin Timon to a 30-second physical attack after a sustained verbal tirade. Timon took himself to the emergency room after the assault. Following this, the three original presenters took themselves to Amazon, where they now present the Prime Video-hosted Grand Tour. The BBC replaced the hosts of UK Top Gear, which included former Friends star Matt LeBlanc. But just like the US had suffered a few years before, this new lineup received criticism and didn't hit the ground running. Eventually, the UK version picked up some momentum with a shift in personnel, but many feel that the damage had already been done. Of course, the US version may well have suffered from the events over the pond, as US viewers were still big fans of the BBC America offering.
I feel like I'm doing good so far, being very disciplined. The bottles are still intact. I can't do it! I gotta go, I gotta run! Hang on, Taylor. Woo!
Here it comes. Don't hit the hearse!
Ow!
The History Channel preferred scripted shows. Part of the charm of Top Gear, regardless of which side of the Atlantic it's on, is the off-the-cuff comments and the relationship between the hosts. The problem this had for History is it didn't really fit with its portfolio of popular shows around the time it was cancelled. The network looked to move into more scripted programming with shows like Roots, which got a huge 14 million viewers during its premiere week. History also has Vikings as another very popular scripted offering. It could be argued that Top Gear USA was never really at home at the History Channel, but because of the lack of interest from other networks, that's where it ended up. But in 2016, it seemed that it wasn't the kind of show that the network was leaning towards. This, twinned with the UK's implosion, could start to paint a picture of why Top Gear USA would have been out of favor with History.
You know that feeling you get in the pit of your stomach when you're about to try something that you know probably won't work? That's the feeling I have right now.
Fans found out about the cancellation through social media. Co-host Rutledge Wood announced in posts on Facebook and Instagram in 2016 that the episode set to run on June 28th would be the last to air on the History Channel. In a lengthy post, he detailed how it might not be the end for the show, but that its current run was done. He also described how excited he was to be offered the job of hosting back in 2010. Also, he thanked the fans for their support, and he was proud of being able to make people laugh when doing the show. The post very much left the option open for the show to be picked up by other networks, and although recently it looked like that might happen, as of now, no new seasons have been picked up since 2016. After Rutledge's post, it was confirmed by the network themselves that they were not extending the run of Top Gear USA. History said, "We'd like to thank the entire Top Gear team for 5 great seasons on History. However, we have decided not to order additional seasons for the network." This put the final nail in the coffin that was Top Gear USA.
No, no.
The company revealed a premiere date of a Top Gear America reboot. The show will begin on January 29, 2021, and will feature a new trio of hosts, Dak Shepard, Rob Corddry, and automotive journalist Jethro Bovingdon. Top Gear America is going to be hosted exclusively on the Motor Trend app. So, although the original Top Gear USA was cancelled, it seemed like a reboot in an online format is going to give the show new life when it was thought all hope was lost. Hopefully, it won't suffer the same fate as its predecessors and can stand on its own away from the obvious comparisons between the UK version and the previous US version. And with that said, those are the reasons how Top Gear USA may have ended, as well as news on its recent resurrection. Feel free to comment down below what you thought of today's video. If you enjoyed it, drop a like and remember to stay crusty, and visit the link below to check out for some crusty merch.